I have Asperger's. That's to say, I'm on the autism spectrum. And when I tell people that, their first reaction is normally to disagree with me. They say, "No, you're not. You behave like a normal human. You're not a robot." To which I typically reply by asking them, if a robot can learn to behave like a normal human, then what's the difference? I've grown and changed a lot throughout my life, and it seems that the general impression towards autism spectrum disorder hasn't changed much at all since I was a little kid. I grew up in a very small town in Queensland, Australia, and it was rough. We had dirt roads, we lived off of rainwater, in a small house made of fiberglass. And I remember once when I was 10, a very, very angry and very deadly brown snake got inside of our house. And my dad was at work that day, and my mum is a paraplegic, so she was unable to kill it herself. So she said that I should go get a shovel from the shed so that I could chop off its head. And she looked at me and she said, "Andrew, one of you is going to die. It's you or the snake. Good luck." And it's funny now, but I remember at the time, I was so afraid. I was 10, learning to cope with death, and I couldn't escape that situation. I had to rise to the occasion. Well, I survived, which means the snake didn't. Deadly creatures invading the house made life complicated. But not being able to behave like a normal kid made growing up in that small town almost unbearable. Some of the aspects that I struggle with are things like experiencing deep anxiety over situations I can't control, picking up on facial expressions, making eye contact, social cues, understanding how other people feel. And decrypting those signals in real time was always very difficult for me, especially when I was young. And my behavior was considered quite robotic. This made life in school quite difficult. I spent 12 years trying to figure out how to make friends, and that was a puzzle that I just couldn't solve. But when I escaped school, I started solving other kinds of puzzles. Actually, when I was 13, I put together my first computer from broken parts that I rescued from the tip. His name was Oscar, and he was my best friend. I was making programs which turned into products, and computers and technology took me to some amazing places. And I ended up being able to dream up the future for some of the most powerful technology companies in the world. Creating products at a planetary scale is a very complex puzzle. I love puzzles, because it's not easy to please more than 1 billion people and have them fall in love with your idea. And no matter where I've worked or which company, one of the most important aspects of good product design is to always increase engagement so that people keep using your product more and more. And to make sure that people love the product, we use concepts like user-centered design, where we put the user's needs at the center of our thinking, and we build the whole product around them. But in recent years, I've started noticing a pattern. We aren't putting the user's needs first at all, because our technology products don't actually care about us or our emotions. And emotional needs are as important to human beings as nutrition, sleep, and water. So we've been trying to solve this puzzle the wrong way. Let me give you an example. Most of you have probably heard of Alexa or Siri. Technologies like these are at the cutting edge of consumer voice technology. They are screenless interfaces, and they utilize specific forms of artificial intelligence. Now, let's say I have a great day today. I'm going to go home and talk to Alexa, and she will speak to me tonight the same way she spoke to me yesterday when I was super stressed. She speaks to me the same way every day, and it's the same way she speaks to you and your neighbor. She doesn't care that we are different. She doesn't care if we are happy or sad, because she was not designed to care about us. And we must understand that when we invite technologies like these into our homes, they are a guest. They participate in all of our conversations. And we don't mind that they don't care if we say please or thank you. And it doesn't upset us that they don't say please or thank you or you're welcome in return. And our children hear them speak to us this way, and that's okay. It's not just voice products, it's actually every digital product that demands our attention, because none of them have been designed with our emotions at the heart of the product thinking. None of them have been designed to care about us. In fact, they've been designed to tap into specific reward centers inside of your brain to release chemicals to make sure that you are so addicted that you cannot live without them. And even though the value they promise you seems like a great idea at the time, it's largely intangible. Mostly they're like slot machines. We feed them with our time, we feed them our money, and we give them our precious personal data, and we never win. So you are all addicted to technology, and technology doesn't care about you. And I see some people thinking, me? I'm not an addict. Excuse me, I'm not an addict. Yes, I'm sorry. This is an intervention, you are. Any one of us who actively engages with one of these things is experiencing this problem. And to cope with our addictions, we've started to modify our own behavior. We've started to change our expectations of ourselves and of others and of our technology. You've seen the phone zombies, right? In restaurants, in cafes, they're supposed to be with their friends and they're just like this. Or what about the people walking down the street, not looking where they're going, heads down, staring at their phones? They've actually started installing traffic lights on the ground in Augsburg in Germany, really, because people are just walking into the road and dying. We are turning into robots. And I'll tell you what's got me really worried. I've traveled the world, and I've met many different kinds of people. And I'm starting to see that we are exhibiting traits that remind me a lot of some of the symptoms of autism spectrum disorder. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone on the autism spectrum shares my opinion, and I'm not suggesting that scientifically our technology is making our civilization autistic, but I can't deny I see a pattern forming here. I see the similarities. I went through a lot of cognitive training and therapy to learn how to behave more like a normal person so that I could live in this world without isolating myself. But now, what does the new normal look like? Well, let me ask you. Who here feels more comfortable today making eye contact with strangers than you did maybe 10 years ago? I want to talk to you later. Use the study. What about facial recognition, facial expressions? When your friends and family, kids, are typing into their devices, can you tell how they feel? Are they typing the poop emoji? Are they happy, sad? Do they need help or a hug? I was thinking about this a lot recently, and the universe, it seemed, wanted to prove a point to me in a very dramatic way. I was catching a bus in Berlin a few months ago, and a man next to me started shaking, and then he had a seizure. And he bit inside of his mouth, I think, because a lot of blood started pouring out of his nose and mouth. And I caught him as he kind of fell, and I held his head in my hands, and I was trying so hard to just keep his airway clear and keep him alive. I was screaming for help, for anyone to come and help. And the bus was full of people, and no one came to help. And what horrified me about that day wasn't the blood dripping through my fingers and getting onto my shoes, or the man's face that was turning blue because he was dying. When I look back, what really horrified me was the apathy of all of the other people on the bus who didn't help. And I remember, because of my adrenaline, I could see every detail. I remember seeing Facebook and Instagram and Twitter logos on device screens of the people looking down and not helping me save the man. Why didn't they help? why didn't they rise to the occasion? Was it because they were afraid? We have a saying in English that when we're scared or anxious, we just want to retreat to the comfort and the safety of our own homes. But now, whenever we're scared, we can retreat to the comfort and safety of our own phones. We take them with us everywhere, and inside of them, we are completely safe from physical harm, and we are in complete control. So when something bad happens in real life now, instead of rising to the occasion, we just hide in our devices and hope for the bad thing to end. Looking back on that day, I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if no one on the bus had a phone? Would I have been the only one trying to save the man? He survived, by the way. He actually just reanimated and came back to life, and the blue went away and he started breathing again. And in the commotion, he had dropped some possessions. So his first words to me when he came to wasn't, "Thank you." It was, "Where is my phone?" So if this continues to be the new normal for us, what does the future look like? Well, first we need to understand something. Most of the big companies that control our data are not interested in solving this problem. They're not motivated to do it, because to do so would mean a dramatic reduction in revenues generated by user engagement. So we aren't measured by Facebook, for example, on our health or our happiness or how kind we are to others. We are measured by how many minutes per day we are staring at this thing. We are measured by how many advertisements we see. And the more data we give them, the more specific those advertisements become. Make no mistake, they know this is a problem, but they cannot fix it. All they can do is offer us deeper, longer, and better distractions. Mark Zuckerberg recently wrote an article where he mentioned social isolation for the first time and community. He forgot to mention, conveniently, that Facebook may have in fact contributed to the largest global wave of social and emotional isolation in the history of our species. We have never been more connected than we are today, and simultaneously, we have never been more alone. So, sad stuff's over. I'm a solution-oriented person. I like fixing things and solving puzzles. So how can we fix this problem? I can't take away your phones and throw them out. That would create a riot. And we're not going to go back to posting each other letters and sending them in the mail, although my grandma and I still do that. So if Elon Musk, for example, is right, maybe this won't be a problem for very long, because apparently artificial intelligence is coming to destroy us all. And while I don't agree with him 100%, I can say that one part of that statement is very true, and that is that artificial intelligence is coming. There are AI systems available right now that are so advanced, they can predict the traffic of the internet minute by minute on a global scale, days ahead. And combined with very acute meteorological modeling, they can raise or lower the temperatures of giant data centers days ahead to make sure that we have a consistent temperature inside of them all year round. And using a complex system like this, Google was able to save 40% on their power bills. So these systems exist. This isn't science fiction. They're available. They're ready and waiting to be put to good work on complex puzzles. And that got me thinking, well, human beings, with all of our emotions and our desires and our fears, we are complex puzzles. What would happen if we put a very powerful AI system in charge of managing our digital daily lives, to take most of the heavy lifting off of our plate, to free us up again, to spend time with people, to smell, see, touch, and hear each other again? Using artificial intelligence, we can measure the moods and emotions of humans on a micro scale and use this data in a synergy to augment our existing digital products so that they respond to our emotional needs in real time. What I'm saying is, using artificial intelligence, we can teach technology to care about us truly. When we raise children, for example, we teach them to care by caring about them. We imbue in them a sense of right and wrong so that they understand how their actions might make other people feel. And we do this to reinforce social bonds and improve the harmony of the pack. I dream of a time where we could use artificially intelligent systems to augment our products to help us reconnect with reality again. I dream of a time where new digital companies create products from the ground up with our emotions at the center of their thinking, not to distract us from reality, but to help us truly live in it. And the time that I'm dreaming of is not far ahead in the future. That time is now. We are the mothers and fathers of technology. It's our baby. And with artificial intelligence around the corner, our baby's growing up really fast. It's time that we take responsibility over what kind of adult we want our technology to be. It's time that we teach technology to care about us while we still remember how to care about each other. Thank you.